Right.
Kendrick Bourne from the San Francisco 49ers. You're watching the Niners All Day Show. What up, Bronze? What up, Trey?
Let's go!
Yee!
Let's
What
go!
up? What up? What up?
Hey, KB got his
KB
shot
in
out,
the house.
bro. That's why I love you, bro. Let's go. Hey, that just lit my
Oh
whole day up.
man,
That just lit my
yo!
whole day up,
I
bro.
wanted to tell man. I wanted to show that to you for so. It's been a couple of days. I got that on ice, and
Yeah,
yeah, man. So
like that
you said the
shout out.
phone.
You know, hey man, hey, that just lit my whole day up. Hey, welcome to the Niners All Day Show. My boy Bronze came through with the KB shout out, bro, and he knows I'm a
Yeah.
KB stan for
Hey,
real, man.
man. Me
Oh,
too.
that was beautiful. Hey, man, welcome
Yes,
to the
sir.
Niners All Day Show.
Yeah, man. Once again, man, we got. I'm hyped up, man. Patreon. We got Patreon. If you guys want to support us, that's the link right there. I'm pin it on the comments. But shout out to all our members, especially the gold member Mariah Lee, gold member Rashad Eichelberger. I talked to him the other day. That's how you pronounced it. And here we go. But action pack. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's been almost like a week, so
it's been a week.
we got our boy again, Mr. Grant Cohn. Grant, what up?
That was impressive. The KB drop. How did you pull that off? You're not going to tell me tricks.
Yeah. Offline.
I don't even know, bro. Bron did. I had no idea about this, guys. I swear to everybody watching, like Bron.
I'm saying that needs to be your branded drop at the beginning of every video you put on YouTube. That's it. That's
man. Yeah.
Well, I wish I had something like that. That's tight.
Hey, you got the plugs too, Grant.
You're a dark horse, Bron. You're a dark horse. Never know what you come up with.
Yeah. I don't say much, but I'll be running in the background. So
also, Kendrick Bourne is a marketing genius, dude. He knows how to get every 49ers fan on his side. Guy's smart.
Most definitely.
Yes, definitely.
Smart, dude.
Woo.
Hey man, everybody out there, go to the Patreon, subscribe to the Patreon. We got 3 different levels to help us make the show a little bit better. Also, press that like and subscribe. And like I said, man, even if you don't like the content, press the dislike. You can press the thumbs down, right? And comment underneath the video and let us know what you didn't like about the video. And maybe I'll talk some SHIT. But at the end of the day, I will do something about it. I will try to appease our fans, right? Because without you guys, none of this is possible, right? And welcome back to my bro Bronze. It had been a while since we've been on this second show in a couple of weeks. Welcome to my guy, Grant Cohn. Bro, we got a lot of stuff to talk about. We got a ton to talk about, bro. There's been a lot. So the first thing we're going to go over is the opt-outs, right? The first opt-out was Travis Benjamin. And then I think it was like about 3 or 4 days later, we had Sean Coleman and Jake Brendel. Don't know much about Jake Brendel, but I was excited to see Sean Coleman to see what he adds as a swing tackle. Out of those 3 guys, who do you think was the most important and could have actually played a role in the offense that opted out?
Well, I've never heard of Jake Brendel. I don't even know who that is.
Right.
I had no idea who's on the team, so not him. I didn't think Sean Coleman was going to make it, even though he's a former 3rd-round pick or something, and he plays an important position. I felt School and Brunskill had done so well, and they're about 5-6 years younger than him and cheaper.
Right.
I thought that's the way that would go. And then, so I guess Travis Benjamin, not because he is that good, but I felt like they brought him in specifically to fill a role, the deep threat in the offense, replace Marquise Goodwin. And if Jimmy Garoppolo's arm strength. If it comes back this year, I felt it was a little bit gone last year after the ACL tear. If it comes back, he's going to need a deep threat, and that was Benjamin. But there's other guys available, like, as you said before, Taylor Gabriel. Not hard to find a 5'9" dude who runs a 4.3. So they're all replaceable. And what I thought too was, like, notice it's 29-year-old, 30-year-olds opting out. If you're 23 and you haven't made that much in the NFL, you understand there's a risk, but you're probably going to play. But Travis Benjamin has $25 million in the bank, which is a lot for a guy who's never really been a starter. So I understand him opting out.
Yeah. He most definitely can afford to opt out, right? Even with that California taxes, he can definitely afford to opt out. And out of those 3, yes, I say that Travis Benjamin was probably the most important out of those 3 because his veteranship. He's been in the league for a long time. He played for Kyle Shanahan. He knows the system. Some of the language has actually changed, and we learned that from Trent Williams, but mostly everything else has stayed the same. So he would have been able to adapt really easy. And I think that, just his being a veteran and knowing this system, that could hurt a little bit, but I don't think it's not going to be in too much anyways. He was on the 6 or 7 list. He was on the cusp of making the team or not making the team. So I don't think that it will have that much of an effect.
Yeah, just a few days ago, John Lynch was talking about all the wide receivers and why they like that group. And he said, well, we got this guy, we got that guy, with that guy. He mentioned Dante Pettis, which was like, wow. And never said Travis Benjamin.
Right.
And then the fact that when Benjamin opted out, that the Niners didn't have a corresponding move, like a day later, they signed Taylor Gabriel, shows that they probably didn't care.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, they probably didn't care anyways. And what I would like to say about that is, and this is for George Kittle, man, those 3 guys added $1.5 million to the cap space this year. Those 3 guys. So, it doesn't sound like a lot, but, when you're at 12, 13 million in cap space and you added an extra 1.5, that is a lot of money that could add to us being able to sign George Kittle. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. This second topic, Dion Jordan, right? It was my first week back to work, right? And we worked like 6 hours before we even took a break, right? We're trying to do a building upgrade for earthquakes, right? So as soon as I take a break, I see Ziggy Ansah and Dion Jordan, and I go crazy. And my first thing was, I thought that we were going to sign Ziggy Ansah. But when I started to think about it, man, he hasn't been the most healthy guy. He made $9 million last year. I think he played a total of like 7 games with the Seattle Seahawks. And I think that they looked at his overall health. And we ended up going with Dion Jordan. He only had I believe 3 sacks last year, but then again, he only played 2 games for the Raiders. He didn't play a lot of games.
He played 7 games for the Raiders and had 2 sacks for them. That's really good.
Yeah, that's really good.
I mean, it's not bad. It's pretty good.
Right. Yeah. If we can get a bench player, I shouldn't even say that. If we can get a rotational guy to come in and get 5 sacks, that's going to help a lot, right?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's really going to help a lot. A lot of people talk about his explosiveness off the edge. They say he's a fast, twitchy guy. What do you guys think, man? Let's start off with Bronze, bro.
Yeah, Bronze.
Well, they said he's a speed rusher, right? Not a power rusher, so that helps him, supplement with D Ford.
Yeah,
and so I mean, his overall grade for last year was 65.3,
which isn't bad.
Which is bad at all.
Bad for a guy that's on the street.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, what do you think, Bronze? Do you think that we should have took the chance on Ziggy Ansah even though he can't stay healthy, or do you think that Dion Jordan is a better move?
I think Dion is a better move. At first, Ziggy, I was like, okay, because I'm more familiar with him,
right?
And Chris Kasurik coached them, but I think he's more banged up. He's more. I think Dion Jordan is more fresher, and I think he might fit very well with our 9 wide.
Yeah. All right. What you think, Grant? What you think? Do you think it was a good move?
Yeah, I do. And the fact that Chris Kasurik passed on Ziggy Ansah, who he developed, says everything. I mean, Ziggy Ansah used to be a beast. I mean, he had 14 and a half sacks in 1 year, but last year he was a huge disappointment. I mean, he was a bigger disappointment than Clowney for the Seahawks. Yeah. He did nothing.
Yeah.
And Dion Jordan actually had 2 sacks in 7 games for the Niners. He's important. The way I look at it is he's probably the 4th best edge rusher on the team. I really like Ronald Blair. But Ronald Blair is a good backup for Bosa. They're kind of similar players. They both have power. There needs to be a backup who's like D Ford.
Right.
Because you need that speed rusher. All the other guys are power rushers, and Dion Jordan gives him that. And I actually think he probably has more talent than a guy like Cassius Marsh. And the fact that he now gets to be around Eric Armstead again, who played college ball with him at Oregon, shouldn't hurt.
Right. Most definitely.
Duck.
Yeah, it seems like our organization loves guys from Georgia Southern and the University of Oregon. Like, we always see back from Georgia Southern and defensive linemen from the University of Oregon, bro. Like, we love those guys. And I'm a Pac-12 guy, so, shout out to my Pac-12 guys. With that being said, this next signing is the most important. I don't think people understand how good Jordan Reed is going to be in this system, right? I really don't think people understand. If you have a 2 tight end set with George Kittle and Jordan Reed, it's going to be hard to guard. What do you say, Grant? Like, how do you feel about this signing? And do you think this is probably the best tight end tandem in the NFL right now?
It could be. I mean, Jordan Reed has a lot to prove. I love Jordan Reed. I mean, in 2013, 14, 15, I thought he was one of the best receiving tight ends in the league. But I think of him sort of in terms of like a boxer who used to be great, but has gotten knocked out 5, 6 times, 7 times to be exact. Right. And when a boxer's gotten knocked out 10 count on the canvas 7 times, it's time to stop fighting. You know, you used to be great. You still probably can throw your punches, but you can't take those shots anymore. So if he makes it through training camp and plays a full 16-game season, the Niners offense is going to be better than it was last year because his route running is better than Kittle's. His hands are better than Kittle's. His blocking isn't as good and his yards after the – but he really would be the Niners' number 2 target. It would be Kittle 1, Jordan Reed 2, and then Deebo Samuel 3. So if he can stay healthy, he just makes this offense way better. But it's like saying if Manny Pacquiao can shake off the cobwebs after getting knocked – you know, it's like, you know, can you really turn back the clock after taking that type of head trauma? I hope he can.
Yeah. And I just feel like, man, he's going to make this offense that much better, bro. You're not going to be able to sit back in your zones. You're going to have to come up and play some man. I mean, you can sit back in your zones if you want to because Jordan Reed is really good at finding space in zones and catching the ball and getting some yards.
Especially in Kyle's offense.
Hey, he'll just get 10 yards every time. 10 yards.
Oh, my God. And this is the thing. Kyle Shanahan said, okay, Cardinals, y'all got Isaiah Simmons. Y'all got that. Okay, Seattle. Y'all want to hit Adams. Okay, checkmate. We got Jordan. What y'all going to do now?
Let's go through their 22 personnel because I think this is the best personnel group they can put on the field, kind of like what Harbaugh did back in the day when they went to the Super Bowl. 2 backs, Juszczyk and Mostert. Now 2 tight ends, Kittle and Reed, and a wide receiver. It could be
Jalen Hurd. You could do all big bodies. You could do a little bit of everything. You could do IU. You could have KB. Hey, it's astronomical the amount of things that Kyle Shanahan can do out of the 22 personnel. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And with him added with Trent Williams, it's just going to make the package even better.
And the reason I like it so much is because it's not a slow grouping. Kittle's a downfield threat. Ayuk's a downfield threat. Juszczyk can get down the field. Mostert runs a 4-3. It's actually a fast, heavy personnel grouping, and you don't have to be in tight under center formations. You can always see what the defense does, and if they load up with like 4 linebackers and 4 defensive linemen, you can go empty. You can put Mostert at wide receiver, Juszczyk at wide receiver, Kittle in the slot. So many things you can do out of it. You can do multiple.
And there's one more guy that you could empty out with that could play a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
His name is McKinnon.
That's right.
His name is Jeff McKinnon. You can empty out and put him out there and play him in the slot or play him out wide, and he's going to run routes just as good as any wide receiver out there, right?
That's right.
So that's a great thing, man. I was happy to see that. I feel
real quick, Grant. So how do you feel about what we talked about last week? How you said you feel like Ross Dwelly was better out of.
Well, look, I'm not surprised that Kyle Shanahan is giving Jordan Reed a shot. He drafted Jordan Reed. He loves Jordan Reed. Right. And I hope Jordan Reed stays healthy because if he does, then he's a better player than Ross Dwelly. But the way that I see this is if the Niners truly want to go to 22 personnel, then they're probably going to stick with 4 tight ends, not 3. Because if your base offense is 2 tight ends, then you're just a couple injuries away from not being able to use that formation, that personnel grouping at all. Right. So I think you could say that it's bad news for Dwelly, but I think it also it's probably worse news for one of those wide receivers on the bubble, like Richie James or Dante Pettis. Because I don't know that they're going to be able to keep 7 wide receivers if they're only going to be playing 1 at a time for large stretches.
Yeah. And, people forget this. We had four tight ends last year. We had Kittle, we had Toy Lolo, we had Dwelly, and we had Daniel Helm. No,
King Smith made the initial 53, and then they cut him, and then Daniel Helm was on 2. So yes, they've done that.
So we had 4. We had 5. We just had 1 that was on the practice squad, right? So I mean, we still had 4 tight ends, and everybody was like, "Well, we're only going to carry 3." No, we can carry 4 because that's what we carried. So yeah, man, I was happy to see that.
What about Charlie Warner? Are we going to keep him then? I mean, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, last year, King Smith, this guy's going to make it. He's a better blocker, a better player.
Yeah, he's not going nowhere. And I feel like what we are doing is I hate to say it. I hate this franchise, but we're doing the same thing that the Patriots do. Yep. They go out and get guys that fit what they're doing, and they pay minimal for them, and they get the most out of those guys. That's
remember
Dude.
Garoppolo's a Patriots guy. And what
Right.
the Niners have now is a full season of data on him.
Right.
And what the advanced stats show is that he's so way better at throwing the ball over the middle to slot receivers, tight ends, and running backs than he is throwing out wide.
Right.
So if you're committed to Jimmy, because he does a lot of good things, then you need as many good tight ends, running backs, and slot receivers as possible. And that's what the Niners loaded up on this year. That's what they did.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And you know, you just said Jimmy, bro. So let's segue into Jimmy.
Sure.
Okay. I'm not going to go to the Eric Branch bashing right now, right? I'm going to hold off on that. We're going to talk about some positivity.
Okay.
They talked about the Niners talking about Tom Brady, right? And Jimmy Garoppolo, it was like literally like a raindrop fell on his shoulder and just ran off his back. Like he was like, hey, it's part of business. I don't care. I knew I wasn't going nowhere. I'm confident in my skills.
Yep.
I love to see that, bro. We haven't had a quarterback that is this confident since Steve Young, right? And before that, it was Cool Joe, right?
I actually think this guy may have more confidence than Steve Young, which is crazy. Because Steve Young had a little bit of like, to be or not to be, am I doing it right? Joe was like the ultimate cool customer, and this guy's kind of like that.
Yeah, most definitely. I was just happy to see that. He's not letting what other people say about him determine who he is. He came back from an ACL. We all know the story. He came back from an ACL, went 13-3. He was top 5 in 3 major categories. He was top 5 in third down completions. He was, he just did a lot of things last year that was pretty damn good. And I'm happy to see that he's very strong mentally. There's not a lot of guys out there that are that strong mentally. Just think about a guy like Baker Mayfield, right?
Yeah.
He gets mad at everything anybody says about him, right? We don't have that guy. We have that guy that can stand under center and he's going to take all of the criticism and he's just going to work to get better. And I'm really happy about that.
His mentality reminds me a little bit of Brett Favre in the sense that he's supremely confident.
Right.
All of his teammates like him. I mean, he's like the most popular guy in the locker room. And on the field, he's extremely aggressive, bordering on reckless.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing you could say is like, dude, could you just rein it in a little bit? And that's what the Packers always felt about Brett. They loved him, but they're like, dude, come on. Can you just throw like 5 fewer picks this year? And he never could. So I compare him a little bit to Brett Favre, and that's a compliment because he doesn't have Favre's arm, but his personality and mentality is a little bit like that.
Most definitely. Most definitely. Now, I got to get to the Eric Branch thing, right? Eric Branch, he basically tried to throw Jimmy Garoppolo under the bus by saying that they requested interviews. Now, do I think Eric Branch is lying? No. Jimmy has a lot of stuff that's going on, especially with the pandemic, especially with his teammates, and just training and trying to get better. So I don't think that giving Eric Branch an interview was something that was that important to him. You know what I'm saying?
Also, he said he didn't get the requests, and I believe him.
Right.
He said he literally didn't get the request. That's the thing. It's like Eric wasn't asking for a one-on-one. He's just saying, like, could the group get him because he's the quarterback and he hasn't spoken yet this year, and we never got him until the other day, which is weird. It's just strange. So it was fair to be like, yo, what's that about? And Jimmy was like, honestly, I didn't get the requests. Yeah. So really, you can see it as Eric throwing the PR staff under the bus, making it public and saying, please don't do this again because now everyone knows. I don't have a problem with it. Actually, I appreciate it because we need to talk to Jimmy.
Yeah, most definitely. And there's one part of, his statement where he said, I hope it's that you don't feel like you're separating yourself because you're the franchise quarterback. Right. Yeah,
that was a strange. That was a strange.
That was a bad assumption.
I was like, Jimmy does not seem like he's the guy that's better than everybody. You know what I'm saying?
I think what Eric was trying to say was, I think you didn't talk to us because it's your way of being a regular guy and not elevating yourself over other teammates. But please explain it because I don't get it. That was the one part that was confusing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, and we got that in. Let's switch it up, man. This is about an ex-Niner. His name is Marquise Goodwin, right? So I don't know if you know who the YouTuber is destroying. Like he has like 2.8 million followers. He calls like all of the NFL wide receivers and does one-on-ones. He was actually the first kid. He was a kicker for UCF, and he was the first kid to get kicked off of his team and lose his scholarship because he was making money off of YouTube, right? Oh. And he just dropped a episode with him and Des Bryant, and Marquise Goodwin was there, right? And they're training and they're doing one-on-ones. They're doing it without mask. And, I just feel like this is another hypocritical move by Marquise Goodwin.
I know where you're going with this. Do it.
You know what I
Say
mean?
it.
It's like,
Say it.
it's you opted out because you wanted to be safe for your child and your wife, right? I get it. Marquise is a good dude. Like, I have nothing against him. But at the same time, it's just like, look what you're doing now. You're training for free with people who aren't regularly tested without a mask.
Yeah, that's hypocritical.
Okay, let me say something.
It literally just
inside his head, but I've always felt that Marquise Goodwin didn't really love football. And I
No.
don't know that to be true. But
Right.
that's the sense I got.
Most
I mean,
definitely.
he went through a lot of heartache and a lot of tragedy the last few years, but he always found a way to take a couple games off the season.
Most definitely. Yeah,
You
man.
know,
So
I mean, Brett Favre lost his dad, played the next day. I'm not saying Goodwin's supposed to do that, but I
Right.
just never really felt like he lived and died for
Yeah.
football.
yeah,
And you know, I think a lot of track guys are like that.
yeah. I just have to bring that up, and I'm just kind of happy that he's not a 49er, man. I'm just really happy that he's not a 49er, that we don't have to worry about a guy who's going to be missing 2 or 3 games, who disappeared for practices and games. I'm just happy that we don't, right. Yeah, I'm just happy that we don't have to deal with that. And I'm
Yeah.
bring that.
The Niners are pretty good at weeding them out.
Most definitely.
You
Most
know,
definitely.
like
Yeah.
Urban
Neither by
Meyer
nature
and-
Goodwin hasn't played football in years. Yeah, I
Right.
agree. I
He
thought he
hasn't.
played his butt off in 2017 to get that extension, and ever since he got it, yeah.
Yep. Most definitely. So all right, so we're gonna talk about Raheem Mostert, his press conference. I kind of got to get at you, Raheem. I appreciated his confidence. I loved how he said, "I'm the starting running back." I loved how he said, "We have unfinished business." I love how he said, "When I step on the field, I want everybody to say that's a bad mofo." Even though I haven't proved it throughout my career, but when I step on the field, I want everybody to say that that's the best running back in the league. I love that. But one thing that I didn't like, and that I don't think his actions have been behind this statement, was he said, the San Francisco 49ers are a family organization. We are a family. And my first thought was, A, were you a family when you SHIT'd on your brother in the running back room, Tevin Coleman? Like when you put his contract on Front Street and said you wanted just as much money as him, right? Like, was it family then? And then 2, were you family when you know that the most important contract that and the most important person that needs to be extended is George Kittle? Like, were you that important when you was on Front Street asking for much more money? It just, to me, it seems like his actions, his words aren't following behind his actions when it comes to the family part, right? Because his actions over the last 4 weeks have been about Raheem Mostert.
No doubt. He must have said the word family 50 times in that interview. And to me, when a guy keeps repeating the word, I think he
doesn't mean it.
Yeah. Someone in the organization said that to him, and he's repeating it to be a good guy. Here's my interpretation. He was really angry with the organization. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan sit him down and calm him down. Because I'm telling you, if you're doing business with the Yorks and Parag, you feel like you're getting lied to. They'll say one thing and they'll forget it the next day. But when you talk to Kyle and John, you trust them. Players trust them. Right. So if the conversation was, John said he was angry that Raheem Mostert requested the trade. So they sit down, and I'm imagining John's like, "Dude, what are you doing? Right. Are you in or are you out?" And Mahomes like, "Dude, I want to be in." And they're like, "Okay, you trust us. We're gonna take care of you." If John Lynch says, "Trust me, I'm gonna take care of you," you're getting taken care of. Right. If Jed York or Parag says, "Trust us, you're getting taken care of,"
you know,
somewhat of the John Lynch effect. He comes back in and there's stability in the organization because his word carries weight and players trust him.
Most definitely.
I think Kyle even stepped in. I think that was the one that kind of made the turning point. You know, he specifically talked about him, and Kyle specifically went to him, and they had the heart-to-heart talk to see where his head was at. Basically, that they came to an understanding, and after that they became on the same page. But yeah, I think Kyle was the one that kind of turned that.
I'm guessing Kyle sat him down, and John said, "Okay, Raheem, what do you want? Are you in or are you out?"
Right.
And Raheem said, "I want to be in." And they said, "Okay, then we'll take care of you. Trust us." And you can trust them, but you can't trust Jed and Parag. That's why these sit downs are really important. And that 2-month absence of John Lynch this offseason was significant. Now that he's back, the organization is back to running as a first-rate organization.
Most definitely, man. Yeah.
Real quick, man, I wasn't really feeling. I mean, and that's good with the confidence of Raheem, but him kind of assuming, he's gonna be the starting running back. That's kind of another under the bus from Tico. I felt like that's the vibe that I got. Not only that, you talked about Tico's money. Now you're saying I'm the starting running back. We don't know that. Jet could be the starting running back.
Hey, I'm telling you guys right now, if Jet is back to rare form and everybody's talking about him like he is, Raheem Mostert is not going to get those carries and those yards that he needs to get that $1 million, bro. Because he has a $500,000 bonus for how many carries he gets, and he has a $500,000 bonus for how many yards he gets. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he has to get over 220 carries, and he has to get over 1,100 yards because he had 1,100 yards last year.
Okay. Jeez,
that's what it is.
That's tough to hit those.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, bro. Because if you look at last year, his stats added up with the complete season in the playoffs, it's about 200 carries and 1,100 yards. So they're probably going to base that off of what your bonus is going to be this year. He's not going to reach that with Jet McKinnon healthy. I guarantee you, right? And by him saying he's a starting quarterback, you might be Raheem, bro. I don't know what's going to happen, bro. I don't think that you might not be the guy.
Like I think he's going to be the guy week one, but knowing Shanahan, he'll have a quick hook. Soon as Raheem Mostert fumbles the ball, it's over.
Bye-bye.
But I think Shanahan is going to be smart and give him the start week one, because if he doesn't, then he opens himself up for criticism from people like me, and I can be tough.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, you are literally, Grant, bro. I think you're the toughest guy in 49ers media to this day. I've never. Your dad was tough on DeBartolo.
Way tougher. But now that he's out of the game,
yeah, he was tough. But
remember when he told Jed York to fire himself? That was pretty good. I haven't had a moment like that yet, but I'm working up to it.
Hey, bro, that's crazy.
Is Raheem going to be a gunner? Is he going to continue to be a gunner?
Yeah. He said, when I step on the field, even as a gunner, I want to be the best gunner on the football field. He's still going to be a gunner this year.
Okay, cool.
I think he will.
Yeah, because he's the best gunner. Okay.
Yeah, he said that also. And this is a quick caveat about Kwon Alexander. Fred Warner, at his media day, they asked him a question. Instantly, he brought up Kwon Alexander. He said, our defensive room changed. Not just the linebacker room, but the defense changed. He brought the swag. He brought the energy.
The vibe. He brought
a different dynamic to our team that we didn't have. And I love that because I've been saying the same thing. The people who are on the trade Kwon train, they don't understand how important Kwon Alexander is to this team. The same thing that Bosa said. When they asked Bosa who was the MVP, he said Kwon Alexander, period, because of what he brought to the team, right? Mm-hmm. Now, this is another guy who's one of the best players on the defense. Is basically saying the same thing as Bosa said. You know what I mean? So I was happy to see that. Grant, do you feel like Kwon has a bounce back year and gets into the top 100 this coming up year? Because I do. I'm
not sure if he's going to be a top 100 player, but I think it's interesting. He's definitely a leader on the defense. And I want to make a point. The Niners have all this great talent on their defense from drafting in the top 10 year after year after year. But a lot of those players did a lot of losing. Buckner, Armstead, Jimmy Ward, Jaquiski Tartt, and weren't necessarily the kind of guys who could lead because they hadn't had success. All of the leaders on the Niners defense are guys they brought in from out of town. Robert Saleh, Richard Sherman, Kwon Alexander, and Nick Bosa, who, I mean, by the time he came here, they were good. So, I think having that guy come in from out of town is big. And I would consider Kwon Alexander not the best player on the defense, not the voice of the defense, but the soul of the defense, the heart of the way that Kittle's energy is infectious on offense, Kwon's energy is infectious on defense. So I don't know if he'll ever get the recognition, top 100, but he's super important on the Niners, and everyone in that locker room knows it.
Hey, and one thing I like, when the top 100 was done and it was over and they announced the one player, Kwon said, he tweeted simply, he said, I see you. That's it. He tweeted at everybody.
That's motivation.
The other 1,999 players, so there's 2,000 players in the NFL. He tweeted at him and said, okay, I see you. Kwon Alexander's going to be on a mission. I'm telling everybody right now, bro. Kwon Alexander is going to be on a mission. I can't wait to see that linebacker group. I'm happy that Drake Greenlaw did not opt out.
Yes,
I'm so pumped about this. So let's talk about Trent Williams for a second, right? and we were saying this before we even came on. Trent Williams seems like he is a 10-year-old on the night before Christmas, right? He seems like he's so happy, bro. It seems like his lifetime wishes have been fulfilled. Like if he dies right now, he would be a happy man. He is a part of this organization, right? He came on and literally said, "You have to experience it to believe it." Talking about the energy and the aura when you come into this to this franchise and when you walk into this facility. Grant, how do you feel about Trent Williams? And just his happiness is exuding through his skin, right? It was just great for me to see, bro.
It sounds like he just got out of prison. It's like the last scene in Shawshank Redemption where he's down in Mexico at Cehuateneo, just this is the greatest beach of all time. It's what it sounds like. And I get it because he just was in Washington for what? 10 years? 10 years. And literally got cancer, had their training staff being like, oh, it's nothing.
Facts.
Nothing. They could have killed him.
Could have killed him.
Yeah.
Could have killed him. So he sat out a year and now he's gone. And all those things I said about the Jed York and the front office of the Niners being like not trustworthy, he doesn't know about that. That's not his problem. All he knows is he just joined a team that went to the Super Bowl. They have Kyle Shanahan, who he respects, and they have John Lynch, who every NFL player
and respects. They just got Jordan Reed. His other brother that the Redskins did dirty, that they probably allowed him to play with all of those concussions, and he didn't know he had a concussion. We used to call them bell ringers, right? That's back in the day. That's what we used to call them. You get that ring in your head, you get a stinger in your shoulder. It's a concussion, but you know what? You sit out a few plays, you go back in, right?
Right. And you take the smelling salts and you get back in.
Right. You get back in the game. They did the same thing with Jordan Reed. They ran him into the friggin' ground, and now one of his brothers is over there with Kyle. It's something special that's happening right now.
All offseason, I'm like, man, the Niners took a step back, but now they get Jordan Reed. Theoretically, if Jordan Reed and Trent Williams play like they played a few years ago, the Niners offense got better. It got better. It's a big deal.
Bro, the Super Bowl.
I got a question with Jordan Reed. I mean, how healthy is he right now?
He's extremely
hurt.
He's the next.
He's fine. Yeah, like he did his physical, bro. He did his physical. He's fine, bro. And you know that they were showing, even though it's just in shorts and tights, he still moves like a wide receiver.
That's not the issue. He's gonna look great in practice. Gonna look great.
Right. Yeah. So I'm happy about that. Bosa, let's talk about that. So he said, and people have to realize he is teammates with Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner, right? He said that Javon Kinlaw is the biggest human being he's ever seen. And I said this before. I've never seen a 6'6", 327-pound man with abs until I seen Javon Kinlaw, bro. It's ridiculous, right? How do you feel about Javon Kinlaw this year, bro? And he also said that he knows his stuff. He knows his stuff when they're in meetings.
I was kind of fading Kinlaw because I was like, man, his initial interview was kind of shaky. He has to replace Buckner. He didn't have a big-time production in college, but I trust Nick Bosa. I really do. Because last year during training camp, first day, he's a rookie, like 21. We're like, Nick, who has stood out to you most on the practice field? And that's a question football players avoid. Because if you single someone out, that means that you missed everyone else and they can be mad at you. He goes, Eric Armstead. He's the best player in the field. This guy's unbelievable. And we're like, he must be new here. Eric Armstead is not that good. And then he's right.
Look what happened. Right.
If he says Kinlaw, he hasn't said Kinlaw is great because they haven't practiced together yet. But he said he's on it in the meeting room, which means he's a pro. So he also said he thinks he's going to kill it. I would trust Nick Bosa. Bosa knows what he's looking at.
Most definitely, man. I was really happy to see that. And
I want to tell a quick story, man. One time I was in New Orleans and I was over there in with the New Orleans and 49er game, and I was trying to find where the hotel was, and then Matt Barrows DM'd me telling me where they were. So me and my son were just cruising around the hotel, like, damn, where they? There's two different complexes. I saw Vic Fangio, and I freaked out, like, oh, there's Vic Fangio. So we parked in, and in the lobby, the Niners were in there. We took pictures. Saw Frank Gore, took a picture with him. But then I saw Joe Staley and Alex Boone walking. I got scared. I was like, they're so big. I was like, oh, I mean, it reminded me of those I don't know, orcs in Lord of the Rings. I mean, all right, that's cool. Like, I'm not gonna ask them for autographs, but you know, yeah, man. So I'm imagining like with Kinlaw, like Nick Bosa saying the biggest human and him with Buckner. Wow, that's scary, man.
Bosa doesn't have to say that stuff. If he was impressed with Kinlaw, if he felt Kinlaw wasn't a hard worker and came into the meetings and was unprepared, Bosa would have been like, "Yeah, we'll see." He would have said a bunch of vague stuff. He didn't do that. He was very specific, and he's not the kind of person who would just do that for any player. I think probably Kinlaw is going to be pretty good, but again, with him, I think the main issue was an injury. It's his knee, and we've seen how that worked out with D Ford. But now that took about 5-6 years for that to catch up to D Ford. Kinlaw should be fine in his early 20s. I'm curious to see what he'll be like in 5 years, but that's really not the issue now.
And the thing with Kinlaw is he never set a game.
True.
Like,
true.
I seen him play. It was them and they played against Ole Miss, and then when I seen them played against LSU, that's when I started believing the hype. Right. Mm-hmm. When you watch him, he continuously eats up two blockers. He's going to eat up a center and a guard, and he probably might run over one of them and push one out the way with his right arm. You know what I mean?
Like a lot of nose tackle in college too. He could do that.
He did. That's mainly where he played. He played more at the nose than he played at the free technique, right? So he's going to cause a lot of problems. Just imagine if you line him and DJ Jones up at the same time and both in Florida at the outside. Right. Like, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of intermixing parts that we could mix and mango and make a good gumbo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because what makes the Niners D-line so good is the depth.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
There's like 8 dudes and they're all playing at like 100% rest and energy, which is crazy.
Yeah, most definitely, man. So I was really happy to see that. Want to go back to Fred Warner. Fred Warner said something that just shows how disciplined the 49ers are. And when they asked him about the COVID and everything, he basically said, actually, the COVID was kind of good because I focused in and I got better. All I did was wake up, train, and go home. Man, and repeat that over and over again. Wow.
He looks in shape.
Doesn't he? Man. He reminds me so much of George Kittle, man. He came out a year after Kittle. Yeah. But the leap he took from year 1 to year 2 was almost the Kittle-esque. And Kittle wasn't done. He came in year 3 and I thought was in even better shape. And I expect to see that from Warner too. They're very similar.
Most definitely. And you know, I feel like the ballers, the ones who want to get better, did what Fred Warner did, right? They did exactly what Fred Warner did. And you just talking about how big Fred Warner looks. Kittle looks, bro, did you see his traps? His traps is like right here, bro. I said, bro, Kittle is humongous, bro. I'm really excited about this season, bro.
That's how Kittle became Kittle. He was a 5th round pick. And if you look at pictures of him from like minicamp his rookie year
to now,
he
looks like a kid.
He looks like
a kid, right?
He's a 5th round pick.
Right. He's a grown man.
I kind of question his tattoo, his new tattoo, the Halo.
The Halo? He's going to regret that in like 6 months.
Yeah. I don't know that game.
From Halo right now, bro.
Good point. I'm not going to regret that. Good point.
I would have got one. That's one of the biggest video game franchises of all time. Like, I would have got a Halo tattoo because he's probably getting a couple mil from Halo.
Remember when those boxers started fighting with the fake tattoos on their backs? Yeah, same idea.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, man, I'm definitely happy to see that. You know, we have a lot of guys who are dedicated to their craft who have been working. This next segment is a segment that me and Bronze came up with last episode. It's called Grant Tweets, right? And we look at some of Grant tweets, and we just want him to expand on some of those tweets, right? Because my guy be getting a lot of hate. So this first tweets, it basically said, no extension or opt out for Kittle today. Dang. I was hoping for something exciting. When I looked at this, I said, 49ers Twitter is going to go crazy. They're going to kill Grant over this. Because if you didn't know who Grant was, like you would think that he almost wanted Kittle to opt out. Right? So I want you to expand on that, bro. Was it more of, I really wanted to see George Kittle's deal announced on 8-5, which is his number, or was you just putting something out there?
I was being selfish. I wanted to get a lot of views on an article and a video. If Kittle opts out, I would have gotten 100,000 views on YouTube in a day. Or if he extended, same thing. But if neither happens, I'm like, oh man, I got a story today, man. Like, I'm not gonna make money. So it was purely selfish. Purely selfish.
That's what's up, bro. Hey, and see, for everybody who's watching, right, to all of the people and them clowns that be talking about Grant, you know who he's telling you who he is, bro. He's keeping it 100, bro. You don't have a lot of journalists in this business that talk about sports that will tell you, you know, what their point of view is and what their true feelings are, bro. And that's why I respect Grant, bro. Yeah, you just don't find people who are genuine about what they do, bro. And you have to respect that. You don't gotta like any of us, but you gotta respect what we do, though, because we're gonna keep it 100 with you guys at all times, right? So that's a great thing. The second tweet. Bro, why you picking on Wade Phillips, bro? Why you picking on Wade, bro?
You're on another team.
Okay, so it was like that dude who has the YouTube channel, the Film Room, like he was bragging that Wade Phillips DM'd him and said, you were wrong about something. JJ Watt and Aaron Donald play different positions. I'm like, that is pretty cool. I didn't even realize Wade Phillips was on Twitter. So I looked him up and he blocked me. I'm like, what did I do to you? And then Kyle Brinkowitz, or I forget his name, showed us like, actually, you took a shot at him after the Super Bowl a year and a half ago. And I'm right. That is true because he did a really good job against Brady. I mean, he held him to like what, 13 points?
13 points. 13
points.
Yeah.
He had like 150 catches for 1,000 yards in that one game. And I did say that like Wade didn't have a plan to stop the one guy he needed to stop. So I guess he saw that and blocked me. Thin skin, Wade. Jeez, I think it was a fair point.
Hey, but this is the thing, though, bro. How many people have held Tom Brady to 13 points in the Super Bowl, bro?
No, you're right. And after
the Rams the best chance to win the game, they just had no answer for Belichick, and they had a young quarterback who basically is in the headset telling his quarterback where to throw the ball to. Like, you're not going to be Belichick like that. You have to.
It's a different philosophies between Belichick and non-Belichick guys. Like Wade Phillip wants to take away the explosive plays and make you dink and dunk, but Brady wants to dink and dunk.
Right.
What Belichick does on defense is he takes away your number one option.
Right.
And I like that style of defense. If you're going against Patriots 2 years ago, you got to take away Edelman. You can't let Edelman beat you. And Wade Phillips let Edelman beat him, even though he did great against the other 10 guys. And to me, Belichick wouldn't have made that mistake. And that's why Belichick is here and everyone else is below him.
Right. Most definitely. Most definitely. All right. And this last one, I ain't going to lie, bro. I didn't like this one. Okay. He said, why have the 49ers not announced John Lynch's contract extension? The silence almost makes you think there's a mutual bitterness there. Right. And I'm going to tell everybody why. I'm going to tell after Grant expands on why he tweeted that, I'm going to tell everybody why I think they haven't announced both John and Kyle's deals, right? So, Grant, explain to us, why did you tweet that, bro?
I think there's bitterness right now between the front office and Lynch. I really believe that. We could go through the whole timeline, but the fact that Shanahan got the extension first, that Lynch kind of went AWOL for 2 months, that he came back.
Yes, lost the Super Bowl, bro. He needed a break.
Yeah, that's fair. But I really believe that he got his eyes opened to who Jed and Parag and John really are this offseason.
But why would he resign though, bro? Like he already said that.
They promised him an extension. They didn't give it to him right away. He was angry. He left. He came back and gave the most brilliant interview ever on KNBR. Because what he did was he told people that Jed York promised him an extension. He put it out there. He put Jed York into a corner and got the extension the next day. But what he didn't get was an announcement. The Niners announced that Kyle Shanahan got an extension. Didn't have a statement from Jed, but they announced it to their PR staff. What I believe that Lynch leaked the story to Adam Schefter or whoever, and he basically announced it himself. But the Niners never did, and their attitude is, okay, here it is. You got your extension. We're not going to throw you a parade or even mention it. And some people are like, well, they don't have to mention it. It's just the GM. But in 2012, when they gave Trent Baalke an extension, 4 years through 2016, Jed York personally tweeted it, personally. So to me, there's a pattern of things showing that there's a disconnect between John and Jed.
I want to hear that.
He's here for 5 years. And whatever they need to do to make John happy, pay him a certain amount of money, they've done it. But I'm telling you, John's eyes are wide open. He knows what those people are that he works for. They're wide. I'm sure he loves the organization, loves Kyle, loves the players, but it's
Not
tough
the
to
owners.
work that organization. And a lot of coaches have discovered this before, and GMs.
Okay, so the first thing that I would say was that he already explained that they were going to do Kyle's deal first because he was getting massively underpaid compared to all of the other head coaches in the league, right? So he basically explained like we already were going to do Kyle's deal first, anyways, right? I wasn't tripping on that. And second, he kept on bigging up the Yorks.
Oh, he was brilliant. I'm telling you, it's the smartest interview I've ever heard because compare it to Mostert. Mostert demanded a trade. Mostert got angry. Lynch didn't express that. Lynch comes out and says, first of all, I want to tell you, I love Jed York. Jed York, what did he say? Jed York is a man of his word. He said, Jed York is a man of his word. And that's why I know he's going to give me this extension because he promised. If he really felt that Jed York was a man of his word, he wouldn't have said that on the radio.
That right. He kind of forced his hand a little bit, put it out there.
Positively pressuring Jed York, and it worked. I think it's brilliant. And I'm not surprised he went to Stanford. He's a very smart.
That's jacked up if you got to do those type of tactics.
It's jacked up. And I'm sure he's upset that it had to come to that. You know, but if you work for the Yorks, you got to be clever and you got to be able to secure your own bag the way Kyle Shanahan did.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you that I've seen a tweet from the 49ers official page stating that John Lynch got his 5-year extension. So
okay, cool.
You know what I'm saying?
But after the fact, though, right after Lynch,
but they haven't had the press conference for John and Kyle, and I'm going to tell you guys why, and I'm going to look like a genius when it happens. I'm calling it right now. Calling it. They did not announce John Lynch's or Kyle Shanahan's extension because they're going to do John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, and George Kittle when his deal gets done all at the same day at the same press conference, baby. I called it today. What time is it? It's 12:47. It is Saturday, August 8th. I called it when George Kittle get his deal. They're going to announce George Kittle, John Lynch, and Kyle Shanahan.
I hope so.
They might. And if they do it that way, they'll create the impression that everything is hunky-dory in Ninerland. But I'm telling you, it ain't. It ain't. It's just not. But you know what? It doesn't have to be. What the funny thing about organizations is there's always this kind of strife right under the surface that fans don't know about. It's like Men in Black. There are aliens in the world, and most people don't know about it because it would make them too upset. Yes, there's personal between John York and John Lynch, but it doesn't really matter because they worked it out. He got his extension. He'll be here for 5 more years. But I'm telling you, man, look, if you work for Jed York after 3 years, I think you would probably look at him with your eyes wide open and not have any illusions of what they are. Yeah.
Hold on. Click X Factor. You are extremely right. I was pissed off because Ruggs is my guy. I wanted Ruggs, but I did not know that we were getting Ayuk and we were trading up to get 2 first-rounders. I didn't know that, so I take that back. But you're right. I did say that. I was pissed off that night. All right, so
I remember that too.
All right, so let's reverberate back to the George Kittle thing, right?
Okay.
So if George Kittle was not getting a new deal, he would have opted out.
That's an interesting point. That's a fair point. And I think probably Mike Silver would agree with you because he was pushing that Kittle should consider it, which means that I think he was considering it. And the fact that he didn't go through with it. Again, what did I say about Raheem Mostert? Now that Lynch is back in the picture, all Kittle has to do is go to Lynch and be like, dude, what's going on here? And if Lynch says, trust me, we're going to work this out soon, then Kittle can trust him. If Parag says that, good luck. But Lynch says it. I don't know that Lynch has said it, but he's basically said it on the air, right? He said it to us, like, trust us. He's not going anywhere. We're not going to let that happen. If Trent had said that, I'd be like, well, I don't trust the word you're saying, Trent. But Lynch said it's a different thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
My take, I think he would have. I think he wouldn't opt out regardless. He's a football player. I know he's about business, but I think he's more football player than business. I don't think he wanted.
Opting out would have been a smart business decision for him. It would have hurt the Niners, but he would have had to hurt himself to hurt the Niners, and that doesn't seem to be his MO. Because remember, he turned 27 in October.
28, yeah, and
needs to hit free agency ASAP.
Right,
ASAP.
And the thing about it is the pandemic CBA says if you opt out, you still have to abide by your contract. So just because you would still have to come back and play under that same number. So
he wouldn't have been a free agent until he was 29. No, right. 28 and a half. Yeah.
Well, they could still franchise tag him for the next 2 years. So
they could, but hey, let's talk about that real quick because it seems like the trend in the NFL now is superstars don't play on the tag anymore. If you tag them, they request a trade, and often they get a trade. Am I wrong? I mean,
that's what's happening.
Not exactly. Chris Jones played on the tag last year. Hunter Bryant, he played on the tag. Like, there's a lot of like.
Although Chris Jones wasn't looked at as a top 10 NFL player by the time he got the tag.
He was top 100, though.
He's a top 100 player.
He was top 100.
I think it's look. George Kittle can't request a trade. You have to honor your rookie deal. Everyone knows that's the deal in the NFL. Right. But the tag, it's a little different. I mean, I think he might request a trade if they tag him. And I'm not saying they won't tag him. You say they're going to work it out, and I think you're probably right. I don't know when, but if they tag him, I think then Kittle is within his right to be angry.
Yeah, bro, this deal's going to get done. It's going to get done. Like,
this year or next year?
Nah, it's gonna get done this year, bro. It has to. I got into it with my guy JD. I think it was like yesterday because it's just like, well, they've been promoting everybody and they haven't promoted the face of the organization. And George Kittle, he's a face, but he's not the franchise quarterback. One, and then like clockwork, like 20 minutes later, they showed a picture of Kittle in camp, and then they uploaded videos with him. A part of the video was running around. So it's just like, bro, I think people are putting 10s on 20s. Like, everybody needs to chill out. Like, this contract is going to happen.
Yeah, people are getting mad and patient.
Yeah, bro.
They're trying to be really.
Take JD's side real quick because where there's smoke, there's fire a lot of the time. And 4 years ago, when Colin Kaepernick was coming back from all those injuries and Chip Kelly was the head coach, the organization was trying to cut Colin Kaepernick. I know this for a fact. This was before he started kneeling, and after he started kneeling, they couldn't cut him because then it would seem like they cut him for political reasons. But before that, they wanted to move on, save money, and have Blaine Gabbert be their starting quarterback. And I could tell because during minicamp and OTAs, there were no pictures of Colin Kaepernick. It's like he wasn't there. And I was saying, like, this is weird. This is weird. They're trying to create the impression that he's persona non grata. If he's really their guy, I mean, he's the franchise quarterback. There'd be a couple of pictures. A couple of years later, I'm on a podcast with Taylor. I forget his name. He used to work for the 49ers.
Yes, I know you're talking
Taylor
about.
Price.
Taylor Price.
He has a great podcast. And he told me, he's like, look, man, I didn't tell you at the time, but in 2016, when you said that there was this conspiracy, like they're trying to edit Colin Kaepernick out of the picture, you were right. We had direction from the team: do not take pictures of Colin Kaepernick. These things happen. They happen. So look, JD might be onto something. I don't know if he's right on this.
Come on, bro.
But in terms of sports, I understand that.
But we've seen pictures and videos of Jordan. Like now,
it's funny that a half hour after dude brought it up, they're like, "Oh, put a picture up. Put a picture up."
Upload it. Hurry up.
Oh, dang. They figured it out.
We got to change course.
You are watching the show, and Jaquaski Tart does too. That I'm thinking Bob Lang does as well. So you never know.
Yeah. Hold on. Click X Factor. George Kittle is not the team leader, bro. Just stop. He's not. That's more of a Richard Sherman role. Like, we all know who. Like,
he's the most popular player on the team.
Yeah, he's the most popular, but Richard Sherman is he's the leader of the team. Like the guy who got the Super Bowls and all of the All Pros, who's going to be a future Hall of Famer. Like that's the team lead.
No question.
But I mean, but you have the right to your opinion, bro. With that being said, bro, is there any other subjects that you feel that we should talk about?
I like that you asked me that question, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I feel like we covered everything.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jerick McKinnon. How about Jerick?
Let's go. Okay,
because Trent Williams worked out with him all offseason. I mean, he's not just being like, I think Jerick McKinnon is going to be good. It's like, I've watched him.
Right.
And so that carries weight to me, just like Nick Bosa saying that Javon Kinlaw is going to be good.
Right.
So my head says that, but then the other part of me is like, I can't think of one running back who missed 2 years with a knee injury that actually returned and was anything after that. So I got those two things working against each other.
Adrian Peterson, and he was way older.
Yes.
AP.
But I can't.
He sat out a whole year.
What was it? A whole year or 2 years?
A year and change.
A year of child abuse thing. He came back and he tore his ACL. Then he can't, and then after that he came back and he had a Pro Bowl year, basically.
Right. And Jerick McKinnon spent the offseason working out with Peterson.
Right.
So I hope he's right.
AP and Trent Williams, they're best friends. One of my buddies is from Texas. They're both from Texas. AP and Trent Williams, they both went to the same high school, and they also went to Oklahoma. Oklahoma had 4 of the top 5 draft picks that year, and they won they went to the Natty. So there's a big tie there, and they also own a gym in Texas. So you know what I mean.
That's cool.
Yeah,
the thing about Trent Williams is he sounds exactly like Master P to me. Although I know Master P's from New Orleans and Trent Williams. When you listen to him talk, maybe he's got to be watching that docuseries too much. But I'm like,
no, he don't sound like Master P. I was watching that video. What he does looks like Suge Knight.
He does look like Suge Knight. Yes,
you look like Big Suge in his prime, bro. Yeah, bro. I'm excited to see Jet. I'm really excited to see Trent Taylor. It was a short clip, but they showed him running his 40. Trent just looks very strong, like in his stride.
Trent Taylor, Trent Taylor, or Trent Williams.
No, Trent Taylor.
Okay.
I'm excited about Trent too, but there was a 17-second clip where they showed like 1 to 2 second intervals of like certain people training, and they showed Trent running his 40, and he looked very strong in his stride, bro. He looked really strong. I'm excited to see.
I thought he was in great shape last year. The dude just he got his foot jumped on. That was a freak injury, and then he had all kind of complications with surgery. He should be fine.
Yeah, he's gonna be fine, man. So yeah, man, I'm extremely excited about the upcoming season. When do you have your first media? When do you have your first media day at the facility, bro?
I don't know if I can say this on the record. I don't know if it's actually like, because it's like all whispered and stuff, but I believe it's going to be the 15th or the 17th. I think technically what happens is the 15th and the 16th are OTAs, and we get to go to one of those days. And then the training camp starts the 17th and goes to about 28th, but that's subject to change. But I think that's basically what it is. And from what I understand, they're only going to have like 9 training camp practices that the media can see. It's going to be a way different thing.
Hey, so will you make us this promise?
Yeah.
The first day you go to training camp, can we do a show that evening?
Yeah, absolutely. We can jump on StreamYard, do it that time. Absolutely.
Let's go. So you guys heard it here. We're going to have firsthand knowledge from the legend himself, Grant, a.k.a. Iggy. You know what I'm saying? That UCLA boy. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be rocking. I mean, hey, so with that being said, bro, we deeply appreciate everybody here. Yes, click X Factor. I will unblock you, bro. Put your name inside of the chat, and I'll unblock you on Twitter. With that being said, man, Grant, you my guy, bro. Thank you. Every time you come on, bro.
Man. Absolutely.
The views go up, and I want to say we really want to appreciate you for putting our link into your videos that you upload on your channel, because I seen the direct correlation. Like you would upload a video with that link, and I would see like 10 or 15 subs. Like good. You know what I mean?
Glad I can do that for you because again, once you get to 1,000, your whole lives are going to change. I'm so
Most
excited.
Most
Because
definitely.
look, I'm watching the docuseries and I'm like legitimately inspired, not because Master P was a great artist, because he wasn't, but he had the drive that we had and he made it independently, which I think is a really a powerful thing for people in all kind of different careers, not just music. So we're all trying to make it independently, basically. And
I need to watch that.
I think we can, and I think YouTube is basically the way to do it. It's like having 80-20 priority deal that Master P had on No Limit. You're going to make a lot of profit.
Most definitely.
This is what I understand. He learned the game from the Bay, though. The independent music, Bay Area music.
That's the way it is.
Yeah, and then it trickled over to the South.
LA's the bang in its place. The Bay's the game in its place.
Yes, sir.
Jacob broke that down in 2004.
and we had our first segment on Sports Illustrated, and that was all because of Grant. So that was huge.
That's right. I put the video on the article, and I'm gonna do that again tomorrow.
Yeah, appreciate that. All right, bro. With that being said, we're gonna holla at y'all. We're probably gonna see y'all next Saturday. We might, I don't know, me and Bronze might hop on a little bit, mess around, but we definitely gonna be doing this weekly. And y'all heard it here. When Grant does his first camp day, either on the 15th or the 17th, we are going to do a show that evening, and you guys are going to get the updates on everything that's going on, from who looks good, from who might get cut, from who looks horrible, which players are going to actually make the team, who's going, all of that stuff. You know, you're going to be able to find out here on Niners All Day. You see what it is. You see that Patreon. Yeah, www.patreon.com/Niners All Day. The N and the A and the D is capitalized. You know what I'm talking about? Press that like and that subscribe. I don't know how you couldn't like this. I don't know. How could you not like this content that we did today? I don't get it. I don't get it. How could you not like this today? You know what I mean? No. Like if you dislike this content and you're a true 49er fan, you obviously just don't like me or Grant or Brian. I don't know what it is. But this is some damn good content. I'm gonna watch it again.
I want to watch KB again.
Yes, sir. Yeah, let's take it out with that.
San Francisco 49ers. You're watching the Niners All Day Show. What up, Bronze? What up, Dre? Let's get it, man. Yeah.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, bro. We're gonna see y'all later on this week. We might pop in with y'all tomorrow, man. We up out this thing.
All right, peace.
Peace.